Any questions? Go ahead. Yeah.
At what point we're looking at this, we want investigation in there, we're looking at the malice of forethought, sending these guys in there knowing where they were, people knowing where to shoot. Within logic, and you say not about revolution, that's correct. As Sam Adams started, the father of the revolution, people had to go, wait a second, those people are bad. They don't have our best interest. Do you feel it's possible that the American people have the capability of introducing into their logic stream, in daily assessment, wait, those people aren't on our side? Logically, it makes more sense that way, because we're all screaming, you know, they don't know what's going on. What if they know exactly what they're doing?
Well, and that's the way it started, and I'll speak for myself first and ask our families here to comment as well, and our experts. That's how it started, the first American Revolution, is that it was a small group of people who understood what was going on. They educated the colonies, they educated the new Americans, and we have a big task to educate. That's what this is about, and to bring them to our side. As Leo Iacocca used to say of Chrysler, either you lead, follow, or get out of the way. We have to lead. The American people don't understand. Particularly the youth of this country don't understand. They spend most of their time on cell phones and social media. We need to educate them to come behind us. They're the ones that elected our new tyrant here, Barack Hussein Obama. So we have a big task ahead of us. And we need to do it with reason, we need to do it with logic, we need to do it peacefully. But we have to understand what we're up against. And what we've heard today should scare anyone in terms of where we're headed as a nation. Billy, you want to make a comment?
I'd just say it's an excellent question. I mean, the results are the same. Results are the same. If they're ignorant and they don't understand, or if they're doing it on purpose, they're destroying our republic, our way of life. I'm going to make it. But what about those? What about those? What about the republic that I've grown up in? She'll never know it. Even if it is because of ignorance, it's just as serious. So we must be just as serious, just as vigilant about changing what's going on in America.
Doug, would you like to say anything?
You know, I think one of the things that all of us parents will agree is that we don't have the answers. Your question was very valid. You made it sound like maybe we were set up, that maybe this was something planned. We can't sit here and say that. We have no idea. But we want to know the answer to that. We want to really know what went on with that mission. That's what we want to find out.
Charlie?
I just want to thank everybody, and hopefully we get some answers. Hopefully we get our congressional link around. Thank these gentlemen and everybody coming out. And definitely there's, you know, we have to get some answers, and we have to get some change. I don't know who said it. Was it Bin Laden or one of them? That they won't beat us on the battlefield. But the rules of engagement, they are beating us on the battlefield. They'll come to our own country, go to Harvard, Yale, the jihadis, and change the Constitution. It's the words getting out there. These people are not stupid people. I mean, they're training. If you look at the Taliban and the Al-Qaeda, none of them are now malnutrition. They're in, you know, they have the weapons. They have all of this false sense that they don't have the technology. They know where we're at, you know? And hopefully today the word gets out, and I want to thank everybody again for helping us, and hopefully we will get some answers.
You know, during our Revolutionary War, what would it have been for our military, the brave men and women that came forward without even adequate weaponry, if General George Washington hadn't stood there for them? He was a great leader. He would not have forsaken them the way our leaders are now forsaking our men and women who are fighting for our cause. And that's the most important thing of all, is that we need to know either they're with us or they're against us, as someone once said. They appear to be against us currently. So we, the people, must now do it for ourselves and demand answers, wait for those answers, and then take action. We will be taking legal action. That's my forte. But the strength of the American people lies way beyond that. Our court system is broken. We need to make it known that we're not going to tolerate people who are trying to drive us into the ground and destroy us. Yeah, sure.
Just to address that, one thing that I feel very strongly about is that I think as a nation, we're afraid to acknowledge the presence of true evil. I think as people, it's very uncomfortable for us to do that because doing that forces us to take action, and we're much too comfortable of a society to take action. So that's one thing that Billy and I were most proud of as Aaron was growing up. He always had the ability to recognize, call out, understand, and deal with evil. And as a culture, we need to get there, because if we just pretend that it doesn't exist, we're doomed. It's over.
Evil from without and from within. Any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Carrie Pickett with Breitbart News. You mentioned Senator Levin and John Boehner turning you away, Mr. Vaughn. Are there any other members of Congress that you had this experience with, or any other members here in the panel who can talk about that experience?
I also called Senator Rubio when it first happened, senator from Florida, time after time after time. Got no response from his office. But later, this past year, I spoke and I said that they're in Florida, and someone from his office has called me, and also Karen and I were able to meet with Senator Rubio. And while I respect Senator Rubio very much, Senator Rubio's answer was, we need to see about this. I'll talk to Senator McCain in the morning and we'll get right on it. And Karen and I had been working on this for a long time by ourselves, and I'm sorry, I said, I'm sorry, Senator, we'll do it on our own, because I did not trust Senator McCain in the establishment of the Republican Party to get to the bottom of what was going on with our sons. I could just see McCain calling up some flag officer the next day and being told the same thing that Congressman Rooney had been told. And Karen and I getting a report back that, don't worry about it, everything's okay. So Karen and I have been very, very particular about the people that we talk to. We've talked to Congressman Bachmann, Lady Bachmann, because we trust her. We know about her love for the Republic. We know that she recognizes the enemy that's engaged against the Republic of the United States. And we've talked to Congressman Gohmert, because we know the same out of him. We've realized that he recognizes the enemy and that he'll call the enemy the enemy. As I said before, there are just very few that we will share our heart with.
One thing I'd like to say about that, this isn't a member of Congress, but when we were visited by one of the highest level admirals in our nation on January 4th, I would like to say that the most shocking thing we experienced is that he lied to us so continuously that if we had not studied our documentation and known the truth, he would have made a mockery of everything our sons died to represent. It got to be actually embarrassing, because he would say, he would make some statement and Billy would say, well, sir, according to sworn testimony, that's not how it was. And he would have absolutely no comeback. Finally, he made the statement to both of us that day at our table that the military will never withhold any truth from the parents of a fallen soldier. And I quickly said, not meaning any disrespect, I just quickly said, what about Pat Tillman? And he nearly came across the table at me, flashed with anger, vessels popped out in his neck, and he said, what about Pat Tillman? That was simply a case of friendly fire. And we knew at that point our discussion was over. And it was embarrassing that this is one of the highest ranking admirals in our Navy. And this is what we're dealing with. And it's very unfortunate, and they are demoralizing our troops. They're demoralizing our nation with the inability to speak the truth.
I'm sorry. I won't protect him. He didn't ask to be protected. He's the commander of JSOC, Joint Special Operation Command. In 2011, runner-up Man of the Year by Time Magazine. Set in the box for President Barack Obama at the State of the Union in 2012. Ironically, the same year he was runner-up Time Magazine of the Year for the raid on Osama bin Laden. He also oversaw the largest loss in the history of naval special warfare. And he has not asked to be protected, because he made it clear to us that day in our home when I said to him, sir, you are a man. You're a man with great authority. You're a man who could speak up and save our warriors. You're a man who can change what's going on in our military. He made it very clear to Karen and I that he believes in the military's policies, in the administration's policies, and that he is for those policies. And his name and his rank is 4-star Admiral William McRaven. I will not say anything negative other than what about him. He has stated his case to us. So he should stand on it, and I believe he will. That's who he is. This is who we are. And that day in our home, we sat there. Sir, we sat across from each other. We have to agree to disagree. And sir, my wife and I, will continue to do what we must do to change what's going on in our military. So as I said, to him, this is not a derogatory comment. He has made it clear that he believes in the policies that are taking place.
And I might add that, just from a standpoint of logic, the reason that the Admiral came to the home of the Vaughns is because he knows there's something rotten in Denmark. He doesn't want it out. Wasn't convincing. Further questions?
Oh, thank you. Yes, hello, my name is Diana West. I'm a columnist with United UCLIC. Thank you all for your presentations. I'm very interested in the meeting you had with Admiral McRaven. I actually guessed that it was McRaven. Did he state, or can you tell us a little bit more about what the purpose of his visit was? It wasn't simply to tell you that he agreed with the policy, but what purpose was his mission, and can you describe that?
I can tell you that this is what I can tell you about that Admiral McRaven on the previous November at the SEAL Museum in Fort Pierce, Florida. He and I had spoken briefly, and we'd gotten crossways with each other very quickly over some of the things that had happened. And I must say that after the meeting that day, that Admiral McRaven, his office contacted my family, Karen and I, contacted me and asked to come to our house to speak with us. And I have to say that Admiral McRaven was very much a gentleman that day. And the first thing that he did when he came in our home was apologize like a gentleman, like a man, like an American warrior. for talking to me in the disrespectful way that he had at the SEAL Museum. And I respect out of him. I will not go into detail about the 3.5-hour conversation that took place because there's not time. But I respect this out of Admiral McRaven. He made it clear where he stands. We made it clear where we stand. And that's without, that's really, without getting to a long conversation, that's really about all that we can say about it.
Further questions?
Hi, I'm Andrew Harrod. I'm an independent researcher and writer. I just wanted to have a little more background.
Who are you with?
Oh, I'm just on my own.
Oh, okay.
I just want to have a little more background on this prayer at Dover Air Force Base, the Islamic prayer by the Imam. What was the purpose of that prayer? I assume then that was put in for the sake of the Afghan deceased at the ceremony. And as you indicated before, that's a standard Islamic prayer that was done in Arabic, I presume, or if anyone can clarify.
First, sir, the prayer took place at Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. That's where the ramp ceremony was held. It was not at Dover.
And it was a classical Arabic, not Farsi, not Farsi.
Okay. Sure. Hold on one sec. We'll get you the microphone.
And also, let me add to that none of the families, to our knowledge, were given a copy of that ramp ceremony. We only became aware of it in January, and we received it in February. So we absolutely have reason to believe that it is absolute common standard practice to send the families a copy of the ramp ceremony at Bagram after their child or family member has been killed. It was not given to the families. We received it through a series of events that I'm not comfortable disclosing, but we became aware of it, and I don't believe we were supposed to become aware of it.
Over at the
because
That's Liz.
Huh? No, it's not. It's Carrie Pickett, right? Yes. We believe that the reason why it occurred that day, that way, and it's just an opinion, is because there were so many Afghans, so many Americans, and the Afghans, we were told, had to be flown back to the United States along with the American warriors so that their bodies could be identified at Dover Air Base by DNA. That's just our assumption. We don't know.
We would like to know if it's happening on a standard basis. We would like to know that.
Why were the pictures of the Imam?
Hold on one second.
The images
Can
of
you
the
identify yourself?
I'm Mark with United West.
Okay.
I was curious why the images of the Imam were not shown and why his voice was only given. Was that done by the military or was that done by you?
That was done by the military. We don't know. I do have full versions of the ramp ceremony that we were given with Special Forces faces blurred that I have available if anybody would like a copy of that. But I just chopped that down from a 20-minute presentation to a 10 for sake of time here today. But that's exactly the format it came to us in without the translation overlay, of course.
So you have no idea where this
don't know.
Imam came from or who
No.
it is or what his... Okay, thank you.
No, we don't.
This gentleman, if you can identify.
Thank you. Yes, I'm with WorldNet Daily.
Oh, great.
It's understandable why you would want to avoid dealing with some of the establishment politicians, but given that, have you received any encouragement that there will be momentum towards congressional investigations, which seems to be, one of the primary purposes here? No.
Not up to this point.
Not at this point. Are you?
We think it will take an outcry from the American people.
So so the most important thing right now, you would publicize what's happened.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I might add that it'd be great if we got congressional investigations. My experience in the last 20-plus years is that is not the be-all and end-all. We'll be taking our own action as well.
Well, I understand. appears to be a two-pronged effort. I know there was the call for congressional action, and also you mentioned you might be taking legal action. At this
Correct.
point, are you able to describe that in any
Not
other
at this
detail?
point. Stay tuned.
Right.
But we would certainly welcome congressional action. We thank the congressmen and women that were here today, is that it's about time that Congress did its job. Unfortunately, the leadership in the House, John Boehner, would rather spend his time at tanning salons than dealing with these issues. And we hope that he will change his mind and start to do the job for which he's there, as well as the Senate, but who knows what's going to happen over there.
Exhausted those avenues, and that's the purpose for this today, is to bring it to the people.
Exhausted may be a strong word. I don't think that the people that we've worked with in Congress feel like there would be enough support for it to move forward. So we're still working on that angle in hopes that this press conference will draw others on board with working with the ones who are already on board for action.
We remain ever hopeful, and we would welcome anyone, whether they helped us in the past or not, coming forward and doing the job for which they were elected.
Thank you.
Can I add something to it?
Sure.
You know, I don't want to make anybody think that I'm taking light of this, but, you know, this was a very, very serious thing, and I think that we presented a lot of stuff today that we really need some answers for, and without a congressional investigation, it's going to be hard to get some of those answers. But I think back not too many years ago that we did have a congressional investigation into who was using steroids in Major League Baseball. I mean, come on. When you look at the difference of just how important this issue is compared to that, we need to take our blinders off and do what's right and move forward. And I want to throw one other thing out there that's a little bit off this subject, but there's been a lot of reference back to American history today. And we were going back to the time of George Washington and Samuel Adams, and we were talking about the war with Britain when we declared our independence. And when you think about why we won that war or how, granted, we had a lot of great strategy, we had a lot of great heroes, but what really helped us win that war is that we changed the rules of engagement. If you think of how England used to fight their wars, they'd stand up in a straight line, they'd point their guns and muskets at each other, and they'd shoot. How many people fell down? That's all right. Somebody else would come up next, and at the end of the day, there was a lot of luck or strength in numbers. Well, our country realized that there was no way we were going to win a war that was ruled by the rules of engagement that was set forth by the British colonies. And we said enough of that stuff. We hid in the woods. We hid behind trees, houses, rocks. We fought that war, and at the time, Britain was screaming, "That's unfair. That's not how wars are to be fought." Well, guess what we're reverting back to? We've got a set of rules of engagement right now for our military that's taking us right back to the days of when the English folks were screaming at us. We forgot what we learned from our own history. We've got to do something with those rules of engagement to protect our people and to help us win wars the way that we're supposed to win wars. And that's through our talented servicemen, and that's through our weaponry, and that's through our intelligence, not the lack of our intelligence.
Yeah.
Kerry, also I happen to think Congressman Trent Franks also has helped us a little bit.
From Arizona.
Hi, Tom Trento here at the United West. This is a question for the gentleman on the far end, who I believe is originally from Laos. Your son, could you tell us a little bit about your son? He was on Extortion 17, and what your impressions, your feelings are about this whole event today.
Today I'm agree everything to set up, and I would like to say to President Obama, please investigate this case, please.
Further questions? Thank you all for coming, and God bless us. Oh, go ahead. Monica.
I just had a brief question. I just wondered if there were any other families that may have wanted to be here who weren't able to be here, and if you could speak about them briefly, since we are a great nation with two great surrounded by a great, two great oceans. If you could let us know about the other families and what they might have wanted to say.
Well, I can't tell you what they would have wanted to say, but there are at least 4 other families who have contacted Karen and I in the last couple of days. 3 of those families, you can give our names. They all support us, said they were praying for us. But one man called me yesterday evening, and Fred Benson, his son was Derek Benson, and he found out about it too late. We didn't know how to get in contact with him. He's in California, and he said he felt the same way. And he talked to us as soon as he could and get together. He said he has learned much disturbing information also, and his and also he said information that absolutely made him nauseated when he heard it. And there's a lot of families that we have not contacted. So we hope that other families from Extortion 17 and even from other military deaths in this war against Islamic Jihad will come forward. And Karen and I do know of other families that have told Karen, the moms have, they've lost their sons due to the rules of engagement. And I'm sure there are many. And as we stand up and as we step up, we can give each other courage and support so that the families of the men and the women who have given all for this country against Islamic Jihad maybe can have enough of an outcry to get these criminal rules of engagement changed.
And we expect that many more will come forward. Just in the last few days, I've been contacting others have been contacting our limited press, other Navy SEALs and Navy SEAL families who are very supportive of what we're doing. Sid?
I'd like to say that a few of the other families that we have talked to, that life in the heart I was talking about, I was afraid that they'll come here with someone who lost their second child, someone just
that available?
can't take it.
I mean, can the handheld
This is not easy.
No, it's not easy. But anything that's not easy makes it worth doing. We need to do it ourselves. So we look forward to you, members of the media and others, to get the word out. You're our partners here. We're going to start something really big. It's not just a question about what happened here and now. It's a question about the future. And as one of our experts said, we haven't fought a war correctly to win since World War II. We've lost virtually every war since then. Now we have to fight our own war to save our country, not just militarily, but in terms of our own ethics and morality and sense of who we are under our God, not someone else's. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you, Vicki. Okay, ready to